In the history of classic movies, very few films stand out the way Forbidden Planet does. Released in 1956, it was one of the first Hollywood science fiction movies to take the genre seriously. It was expensive, bold, and full of ideas that people in the 1950s were not used to seeing on a movie screen. Even today, filmmakers admire it because it was far ahead of its time. But what many people do not know is that this movie once had a deleted scene that no one outside the studio was ever supposed to watch. This scene remained hidden for decades, locked away in the deep storage rooms of MGM Studios. Only a handful of people knew about it, and even they refused to talk about it openly. The deleted scene was not removed because it was boring or badly filmed. It was removed because it revealed something powerful and unsettling about the story, something the studio believed the public was not ready to see. This lost moment showed a darker side of one of the film's most important characters. It changed the way the audience might think about the strange events happening on the mysterious planet Altair 4. It also suggested that the monsters in the movie were not what everyone believed. When the truth about the scene finally came out many years later, fans were shocked. They realized that the film had been hiding a secret message from the very beginning. A message about human fear, imagination, and the dangerous power inside every mind. This article will explore the story of that deleted scene, explain why the studio erased it from history, and show how its discovery changed the way people understand Forbidden Planet. Even if you have seen the movie many times, the truth behind this missing moment will make you look at the film in a whole new way to understand why the deleted scene was so important. We need to look at the background of Forbidden Planet itself. When MGM began production in the early 1950s, they wanted to create a film unlike any other science fiction movie of the time. Most sci-fi films back then were cheap, rushed, and full of silly monsters made of rubber or cardboard. But MGM wanted something bigger, something that would prove science fiction could be smart, dramatic, and meaningful. The studio invested a huge budget, one of the largest ever for a sci-fi film at the time. They built massive sets, used advanced sound effects, and created Robbie the Robot, a mechanical character that would later become a cultural icon. But the most important part of the story was the psychological theme. Instead of focusing on aliens or space battles, the movie explored the dark side of the human mind. It suggested that people could create their own monsters without even knowing it. The film was inspired by Shakespeare's A Tempest, but the writers added a scientific twist. What if a powerful ancient technology could turn a person's hidden fears and anger into a real creature capable of destroying anything in its path? That idea became the heart of Forbidden Planet. And this is where the deleted scene connects. The missing scene showed the true beginning of Morbius's mental transformation. In the final movie, we only see the results of his hidden power. But the deleted moment revealed something much deeper. It showed the exact moment when Morbius first faced the terrible force inside himself. It also explained why he later tried so hard to control what was happening around him on the planet. MGM executives feared that showing the scene would make Morbius appear too unstable and too dark for audiences in the 1950s. They thought viewers might reject the character completely. So the scene was removed, erased, and kept secret. But without it, the movie left viewers with unanswered questions about how Morbius became the man we see on screen. The deleted scene took place early in the film, shortly after the crew of the spaceship lands on Altair 4. In the final version of the movie, we see Dr. Morbius greet the crew politely, warn them about the dangers on the planet, and explain that a mysterious creature had killed the original colonists many years earlier. But in the missing scene, Morbius reveals much more. He tells the crew about the very first time he used the ancient Krell machine, a device that could multiply the power of the human mind. The machine was built by an advanced alien race, and it was so strong that it could turn thoughts into real objects. At first, Morbius used it out of curiosity. But then, according to the deleted footage, the machine showed him a reflection of his own subconscious, an enormous, terrifying shape that looked like a shadow made of fire. Morbius described it as a creature that had no form, no face, and no mercy. It was everything he feared and everything he tried to hide. In the deleted scene, Morbius becomes frightened and shuts off the machine. But this moment was important because it showed that he knew, from the start, that something very dark lived inside his mind. It also connected directly to the creature that later attacks the crew, the mysterious monster from the ID, which is actually created by Morbius's subconscious thoughts. The studio removed the scene because they believed it revealed the truth too early. MGM executives wanted the creature's identity to remain a mystery until the end of the film. They felt that if audiences saw Morbius's fear so clearly at the beginning, it would spoil the final twist. In the final movie, viewers slowly realized the truth over time. But in the deleted scene, the truth is presented openly and emotionally. This moment made Morbius more human and more tragic, but the studio believed the scene was too intense for 1950s viewers. For decades, it remained unseen. For many years, the deleted scene was believed to be lost forever. MGM had a habit of destroying or reusing old film reels to save storage space, especially when they believed the material had no value. Because the scene was cut before the film's release, it was never included in any early home video edition. Even the film editors from the 1950s rarely talked about it, as if they were told to keep it quiet. But in the early 2000s, something remarkable happened. A researcher working on a special anniversary edition of Forbidden Planet discovered a sealed film canister deep inside the MGM archive. The metal container was dusty, unmarked, and stored behind dozens of old reels. Inside, it was a piece of 35mm film that had not been touched in decades. When the film was cleaned and restored, it revealed the long-lost deleted scene. Although the audio was damaged and some frames were missing, the emotional power of the moment was still strong. Film historians were amazed. They realized the scene added more depth and meaning to Morbius's character. It showed his fear, his desire for knowledge, and his loss of control. When the public first heard about the rediscovery, fans were shocked and excited. Many people wondered why the studio had hidden the moment for so long. Some believed the scene was removed simply because MGM wanted a faster, more mysterious story. Others suspected that the studio was afraid of the psychological themes, which were unusual for the time. Whatever the reason, the rediscovery made people look at Forbidden Planet differently. It helped viewers understand that the film was not just about space travel or aliens. Instead, it was a story about the human mind and the dangers of power without limits. The deleted scene finally allowed fans to see the complete picture the filmmakers originally intended. When film critics reviewed the deleted scene after its rediscovery, he acts like a man who is in complete control of his environment. But in the deleted scene, we see a different side of him, a frightened human being who has already come face to face with the darkest part of his mind. This discovery makes his later actions much more tragic. Instead of being a mysterious scientist who hides secrets, he becomes a person struggling with inner demons he cannot control. The deleted scene also deepens the meaning of the film's most famous theme, the idea in psychology. The idea is the part of the mind that contains our basic desires, fears, and instincts. These emotions are normally kept hidden. But in Forbidden Planet, the Krell machine gives the ID physical power. It creates real monsters from imagination. Without the deleted scene, the movie shows the results of the ID's power. But with the deleted scene included, viewers understand exactly when Morbius first realizes what the machine has awakened inside him. He is not just a victim of the technology. He is afraid of himself. Many critics say this theme makes the film even more relevant today. In a world with advanced technology, artificial intelligence, and powerful machines, the idea that human emotions can turn dangerous feels more real than ever. Technology can make life easier, but it can also give people power they may not be ready to handle. The deleted scene reminds us that true danger does not always come from outside forces. Sometimes the greatest threat comes from within our own minds. This message gives the film a deeper emotional impact. It turns Forbidden Planet from a simple sci-fi adventure into a meaningful story about responsibility, fear, and the human condition. For many fans, the rediscovered scene did not ruin the mystery. It made the film more complete. Today, the deleted scene from Forbidden Planet is considered one of the most important lost and found moments in science fiction history. It shows how much thought and creativity went into the making of the film. It also reminds us that classic Hollywood was full of hidden stories, secret decisions, and lost ideas that shaped the movies we know today. If the scene had remained missing, fans would never fully understand Morbius's inner struggle. They would never know how much fear he carried, or how early he realized the danger of the Krell machine. The rediscovery brings the film closer to its original vision, A story not only about space exploration, but also about the dangers of too much knowledge. It proves that even the most advanced technologies can cause harm when used without wisdom. The scene also helps modern viewers appreciate the bravery of the filmmakers. In the 1950s, few movies explored deep psychological themes. Hollywood preferred simple, clean stories. But Forbidden Planet dared to be different. It explored the mind, fear, desire, and power in ways that were unusual for its time. That is why the studio became nervous. They worried audiences might not understand the message, or might react negatively to a scene that showed a respected character breaking down emotionally. Even though the scene remained hidden for decades, its rediscovery proves that no film is ever truly finished. Every movie has a hidden past, and sometimes these secrets change everything. Today, when fans watch Forbidden Planet, many imagine how the film would feel with the deleted moment restored. Some believe it should be added back into new versions of the movie. Others feel it is perfect as a separate piece of history. But everyone agrees on one thing. The scene adds meaning, depth, and emotional power to a film already considered a masterpiece. And it reminds us that great stories often have hidden layers waiting to be discovered. The deleted tiger and unicorn scene wasn't just an extra spectacle. It played a crucial role in explaining the story's underlying psychological themes. In the theatrical cut, viewers often found a tiger attack confusing. It seemed sudden, almost random. Without context, Alta's tiger goes from calm and obedient to aggressive in an instant, leaving audiences puzzled. The lost scene would have clarified that Alta's innocence and purity allowed her to control the tiger, a metaphor for the delicate balance between human instinct and conscious control. Once she shares a romantic kiss with Commander Adams, her emotional state changes, and the tiger senses a shift, turning violent. This moment mirrors one of the film's central themes. That purity and innocence can exert power over nature, but such control is fleeting and fragile. Be wise showing the tiger scene. The filmmakers were emphasizing the subconscious connections between humans, their emotions, and the physical world. The unicorn, a symbol of innocence, reinforced this idea. Its presence also highlighted the mythological undertones of the film, connecting the science fiction narrative to classic tales and archetypes. Essentially, the deleted scene bridged the gap between high-concept psychology and the visual spectacle that MGM audiences loved. Without it, viewers miss an important layer of the story, making Alta's sudden loss of control over the tiger seem illogical rather than symbolic. The absence of this scene also affected Dr. Morbius's character. In the complete version, the scene would have demonstrated that Morbius's daughter is not just a passive observer, but an active participant in the planet's mysterious energies. Her purity acts as a controlling force, indirectly showcasing the power of the human mind, a theme central to the ID monster, which manifests the subconscious fears and desires of Morbius himself. Removing the scene meant that these psychological connections were harder for the audience to grasp, turning sophisticated themes into what some critics perceived as just action or special effects. Forbidden Planet was revolutionary not just for its futuristic sets or groundbreaking special effects, but for the way it integrated psychology into science fiction. The filmmakers, inspired by Freudian concepts, wanted to show that humans are capable of creating monsters from within. The ID monster, the invisible antagonist of the film, is a manifestation of repressed emotions, rage, and desire. In this context, Alta's control over the tiger, and later her loss of control, symbolically reflects the human struggle with internal instincts. The deleted scene would have made this theme even clearer to audiences. Fred M. Wilcox, the director, was known for handling emotional dramas like Lassie Come Home. Although he lacked sci-fi experience, this was an advantage. He approached the story as a human drama set in a futuristic world. Every visual and narrative choice was designed to make the audience empathize with the characters, not just marvel at spaceships or robots. The unicorn-tiger sequence was a subtle way to show the delicate balance between innocence and danger, emphasizing how human emotions can directly influence their surroundings. Screenwriter Cyril Hume played a crucial role as well. He adapted the initial pitch from Bloch and Adler, transforming visual ideas into a narrative rich with symbolism. Hume added layers of literary and psychological depth, connecting Alta's actions to myth, morality, and human instinct. The deleted scene would have illustrated these layers explicitly. By showing the mystical control Alta has over the tiger, The audience could better understand the ID monster as an extension of human consciousness rather than a random threat. Without the scene, the film's psychological complexity remains subtle and largely hidden, leaving the power of Hume's writing partially unexplored in theaters. The actors involved in Forbidden Planet had little idea how controversial some scenes would become, and Frances, who played Alta, faced both professional and personal challenges during the filming of the deleted tiger unicorn sequence. She was young, just 23, and inexperienced with complex symbolic acting. Directors asked her to interact naturally with a live animal while maintaining an aura of mystical innocence, a difficult combination for anyone. She wore carefully designed costumes to suggest purity while keeping the scene modest with camera, but the symbolic nature of the scene made it emotionally demanding. Walter Pidgeon, portraying Dr. Morbius, also appreciated the depth the scene added. The scene allowed him to subtly convey a father's protective instincts, his awe for his daughter's abilities, and the fear of what happens when innocence is lost. For him, the scene wasn't just a spectacle. It was a critical emotional beat. Unfortunately, MGM's decision to cut the sequence meant that the emotional context for several key plot points was lost in the final version, leaving actors frustrated that their performances lacked a crucial narrative anchor. Even Leslie Nielsen, who played Commander Adams, noticed that the removal changed audience perception. In the finished film, the tiger attack looked sudden and almost cartoonish, whereas the deleted scene would have framed it as a natural, psychologically meaningful reaction. The cast later commented that seeing the restored version decades later brought clarity and depth to their performances. It reminded them that their work had originally been intended to serve a far more sophisticated and symbolic narrative, demonstrating that even small deleted scenes can profoundly impact storytelling. One of the most remarkable aspects of Forbidden Planet was its production design, which broke new ground for science fiction films. The planet of Altair was entirely a construct of imagination, not a real location. MGM built massive sets spanning 4 of its largest sound stages, each with a specific purpose: the spaceship, the Krell laboratory, the alien terrain, and control center. The filmmakers meticulously designed every element to create a sense of scale and realism, allowing audiences to believe in an alien world that had never been seen before on screen. The cycloramas, curved painted backdrops used to depict the alien landscape, were particularly impressive. At 350 feet long, the desert landscape seemed to stretch endlessly, creating the illusion of a vast, empty planet. Lighting was critical. The sun painted on the backdrop had to match the artificial sun used on set, and cinematographer George Foley lit each scene with precision to avoid shadows and maintain the illusion. This level of detail was unheard of in 1956, especially for a genre often dismissed as low-budget pulp. Every element, from rocks to alien structures, contributed to the story, emphasizing isolation, mystery, and danger, which reinforced the film's psychological undertones. The spaceship itself was a marvel of design. At 167 feet across, the flying saucer set overwhelmed the actors and crew, forcing everyone to bring their best performance. It wasn't just a prop, it was a statement. The design demanded that scenes be choreographed carefully, coordinating camera angles, lighting, and actor positions to maintain the illusion of scale. The spaceship and the planetary sets worked together to immerse audiences fully in Altair 4, making it feel real and believable, a major achievement for science fiction cinema at the time. Costume design in Forbidden Planet played an essential role in defining the characters and reinforcing the film's symbolic layers. And Frances's outfits, particularly her mini-skirts and bodysuits, were groundbreaking for 1956. The futuristic attire was both fashionable and deliberately provocative, emphasizing her innocence, vitality, and otherworldly presence. Costume designer Helen Rose worked closely with the director to ensure that Alta's clothing enhanced the narrative rather than distracting from it. Every costume choice, from the reflective silver jumpsuits to skin-tone bodysuits, served a dual purpose: to push visual boundaries while remaining within moral limits of the era. The bodysuit worn in the famous swimming scene exemplifies this delicate balance. Designed to look like bare skin underwater, it sparked controversy despite being entirely modest. Audiences and morality groups reacted strongly, believing they had seen nudity, which illustrates how the visual design of a character can create tension, even without explicit content. This moment highlighted Alta's dual role: She was both innocent and powerful, a visual metaphor for purity and latent energy. The deleted unicorn tiger scene complements this, showing how her emotional state and symbolic innocence could influence the world around her. Male costumes also reinforce their characters. Leslie Nielsen's Commander Adams was dressed in utilitarian yet authoritative attire, emphasizing his role as a logical, moral leader. Walter Pidgeon's robes as Dr. Morbius conveyed intellect and gravitas, distinguishing him from a typical sci-fi scientist. Together, the costumes created a visual language that subtly communicated the themes of control, power, and human psychology. Each outfit was carefully planned to support both the story and the allegorical elements, showing that in Forbidden Planet, costume design was more than aesthetic. It was narrative. Forbidden Planet also revolutionized the way sound and music were used in science fiction. Instead of a traditional orchestral score, MGM commissioned Lewis and B.B. Barron to create electronic music, a completely new concept for time. The Barons built circuits and devices to generate unique sounds, producing tones, static, and feedback loops that were alien, unsettling, and perfect for Altair 4. Their work wasn't considered music by contemporary standards, but enhanced the film's psychological depth. The soundtrack echoed the subconscious themes of the movie, making audiences feel tension, curiosity, and fear without relying on dialogue or traditional scoring. The sound design extended beyond music. The roar of the ID monster, the hum of the spaceship, and the ambient noises of the alien planet were all carefully crafted. In particular, the subtle use of silence in critical moments emphasized human emotions and psychological tension. For instance, when Alta's tiger lunges after the first kiss, the absence of music or a loud soundtrack heightens the suddenness and emotional impact of the scene. These choices made the story more immersive, allowing viewers to experience the planet